I still love that the intro to our podcast is Lily playing the ukulele. I think that is so cool.
I love it too. I just love listening to it. It's
just
awesome.
kind of gets you in the mood of, all right, here we go with the podcast. We're going to make it happen now.
Let's get started.
Maybe there's other people that feel that way too. They think, I want to hear that ukulele.
That's what they're thinking. I really like that ukulele.
That's it, right. Hi, everyone. How's it going, fellow streakers? It's Jeff and Jamie, and we are here with you again today for another fantastic, wonderful, absolutely just amazing podcast with you.
Wow, that's setting the expectation. Here we go. It's going to be a fun day. We are ready to go.
You know what? I want it to be a fun day because we need it to be a fun day with all of the craziness that's gone on in our nation over the last several months. I mean,
yes.
COVID and everything else. I think we just need to, we are declaring today, if you're listening to this right now, today is a fun day for you.
It's a fun day. Welcome to your fun day. You're just going to have fun today. And you're going to enjoy this day.
Yeah, that sounds like more like a command. You kind of have your mother voice on there.
Sorry. Did I just command everyone? We are having fun, people. Welcome to the fun day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You will have fun or you will go to your room until you decide to have fun.
Until you decide to have fun. And that's all there is to it. And
I didn't even realize I was using my mom voice. That's how quickly it just kicks in. We're having fun. Okay, we're having fun.
Okay, all right.
Let's
She
have
said
fun.
it. We're doing it. Maybe some of the people, though, when you said you go to your room, they're like, fine, I'm going to my room.
That
and
sounds
I'm not
fun to me. Send me to my room. I'm ready for some fun.
Of late, we've been really excited because book sales have been going just swimmingly well.
Yes. And we've had some fun. So we got some really fun, a really fun, I don't know if you call it feedback or a comment or something from the book. So a person had read the book and she's like,
Right.
I really loved the book. She said, but I feel like you missed an opportunity. I'm
Ouch.
like, okay.
Were you okay with that?
I braced myself. Actually, do you want to know the truth? I was excited because I'm like, all right, this is one of my streaks to accept and look for feedback.
Accept and receive feedback.
Accept and
what is it?
receive feedback.
Accept
That's
and
what it
receive
is.
feedback. That's
Except
what it is.
I've been the reason I hesitated is because I've been contemplating if I should change the word to receive, that receive feedback to maybe just seek
Right.
out feedback. I don't know that I need to receive every feedback I'm given.
Well, I think more what you're saying when you say, I want to receive feedback is that you're open to it.
I'm open to it.
Not
yes.
that you're necessarily going to implement it, but that's, I think, sorry, we're just going to segue for a second because this streak that you've set to me has been a profound one.
I'm so glad that my streak has been profound for you.
Why is that?
Because I'm the one that has to accept all the feedback.
I know. That's why it's profound
I'm glad
for me.
it's enjoyable to watch.
But
Go
accepting
ahead. I was teasing you.
Now, here's one of the things, and I think this is important for our listening audience to know about Jamie, is anything that is positive about Jamie, she discounts immediately. It's
Not
like going to the
anything.
discount bargain store, and it's immediately, they don't really need that. They're not really there. Now, oh, she's giving me the look right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not the look. She's
Where are we
thinking
going
about
with
it. No,
this?
I'm not going anywhere other than, so when you say accept and receive feedback, I think that's both sides of feedback.
You're right.
That
Part
is
of
not
it was
only just the stuff that's hard to hear and could sometimes be considered negative, but also the other side of feedback, which is the positive, and
Right.
to accept and receive that and say, okay, I accept and receive that. And doesn't this relate a little bit to what we wanted to talk about today? I mean,
Yes.
because that right there, accepting and receiving feedback, if there's people out in our audience right now listening to us, just thinking about accepting and receiving feedback. Everyone is thinking, well, feedback is usually negative.
I know. And I loved that you said that because it helped me to accomplish my streak more often because it didn't have to just be the negative feedback, but to look at it and be like, hey, that person gave me some positive feedback and I choose to accept and receive that.
I'm so glad you do.
Anyway.
You're accepting.
So
and
you were going to say, though, why this streak has been profound for you. Is that why? Is that what you were going to say?
So it's been profound for me because of who you are as a person and that you've opened yourself up to that. And profound to me because I'm impressed by it. It just is, I think it'd be very difficult for anyone to have that as an actual streak. Is that laughably simple? I mean, that's the question that I asked myself.
Well, that's why I made it weekly and not daily. I
Right.
don't have to accept
So it's
feedback daily, just once a week.
See, but there again, now, what if it was positive feedback daily?
You're right. Good point. But when I said it, I wasn't thinking as much positive feedback, to be honest. I was
Yeah.
thinking of I was actually just thinking of seeking out, because sometimes it may not be positive or negative. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That sometimes it's
totally.
just something that I'm like, okay, that's something I need to get more comfortable with. It's not necessarily good feedback or bad feedback. It's just becoming more familiar with something and accepting that instead of.
Is there anything you're thinking of in particular, or more just conceptually? And I'm not looking for anything in particular, but is there something that you were thinking about as far as that? Because negative feedback that's hard to take.
Right.
And
For
positive
me,
feedback, it's kind of like it's hard to take in a different reason, because you're looking at it and saying, well, as far as the positive, do I really believe that they're honest? Are they being honest with
Yeah.
me, or are they just trying to butter me up for something?
well, and you bring up a good point, because part of what I wanted, part of the point of setting the streak was that, like when I told somebody this streak, they thought it was interesting because people can just say stuff.
Right.
And it can be considered, how do you decide when someone's just popping off and when someone's giving you legitimate feedback?
Right.
And that was part of the purpose of setting the streak, was to actually learn that, to be able to take those things in and sift through and sort through it and be like, okay, this person's just popping off and it's just their opinion, and, take it for what it's worth. Versus something else that comes in and you're like, okay, that's a really valid point, and it's something maybe I hadn't seen in myself, or it's something that I would like to work at, or so that was.
Is there a piece of feedback that you've received recently that was
well, that was this one. This was interesting
okay.
for the book when she said so. She didn't say she's going to give me feedback, but when the person, said, I think you missed an opportunity.
One of our fellow streakers,
yes,
who's now read the book, said, you've missed a huge opportunity.
Right, you missed a huge
something
opportunity
that was
in
significant.
writing this. And I was like, okay.
All right.
Buckle
Brace
up,
yourself.
Buttercup. You're
Here
getting
we go.
feedback. Maybe it's positive.
Maybe
and you
it's
won't
positive.
Have to
And
buckle
you won't
up so
have to.
tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Though it was interesting because she said that she really loved the book, but she said the feeling that the missed opportunity that she felt that we had missed was taking more time to discuss how streaking helps people feel better about themselves. Like she's like, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but she said you really could have delved into that, how streaking helps people to feel better about themselves. And
what's interesting about that? Just let me riff in there for a second. I have received feedback from, and I did receive the feedback.
Okay.
From a lot of people that they said that they've had to read the book a couple of times to really get into it, to really, I mean, like they read it once. And I think sometimes the length of the book is deceptive because you can read it pretty fast. In fact, I was submitting, we had to resubmit the Audible again.
It's coming soon, people.
It's coming
there
soon.
Will be
it is
an
out
Audible
there.
out there soon.
We didn't have to do much. There was just a couple of things that we had missed.
I actually think it's funny what you had to do. He had to re-record the title, who it was written by, our names, and then who it was narrated by, which is us. You couldn't include the written and narrated by. It had to be separate.
But you know what's interesting is I read into that more because I had told you that.
Yeah.
And then I read into it more. And you can say written and narrated by, but what I did is I included Chris McChesney's name as the forward, and that didn't match the metadata that they had.
Oh.
So I had to take his name off. So after re-recording it 10 times, because I did just that, written and narrated by, and I went written by Jeffrey J. Downs and Jamie L. Downs. Narrated by Jeffrey J. Downs and Jamie L. Downs. I was like, that is ridiculous. Why do I have to do that? And so I read further into it because I thought, why? I mean,
what's the point of?
I don't want to keep on mentioning
that?
my name, And so I read into it. It's like, no, you can say written and narrated by, but your data that you have on the recorded title must match the submitted graphic for the title. And the submitted graphic doesn't have forward by Chris McChesney.
Gotcha.
And so I had to omit that, and then we could we resubmitted it.
Which makes sense because we would have had to have Chris come in and record his forward, which would have been so fun. We should have thought of doing that actually.
That might not have been. Yeah, maybe
well, let's scratch the whole thing and start over.
Let's do it over.
We're redoing the Audible, people.
Anyway,
we are having a fun day. I told you we were going to have fun.
Where did we even go? What were you asking about? The book, something about it. I was going to tell you something about.
I don't know. We were talking about feedback and the missed opportunity.
Feedback, missed opportunity. Oh, Yes, I remember now. You took me right where I needed to be. What I saw was that the people who had to read it twice, because it was a shorter
that's right.
book. Remember, I was going to say it's actually 4 hours of recorded audio.
Okay.
So it's very
It's a pretty short-
that's
it's
pretty
an easy
short,
listen to,
audible,
yeah.
short to listen to. What I've heard from more than one people and people not related to each other is they're on their second reading of the book, and some even third. And I think what it is, and I know you don't like this, but I'm going to use it anyway. Concentrated orange juice. All right.
It's not that I don't like it.
Oh, what is it?
I just like my analogy better.
What's
My
your
analogy is it's a journey. Your
Yes, that's
analogy is
true.
concentrated orange juice, but
I think they can
I
both
like
go
them
together.
both.
I think they can both go together. So the reason why I say concentrated orange juice is because in order to unpack what's in there, you read it a few times, and that's where it starts to really stand out as far as what some of the principles are. And more than one person has said the secret sauce is law number 1, make it laughably simple.
right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the power of the book is that, well, I think the reason people have to read it twice is because you kind of read it and you get the overall and you get excited and you want to get started. And then you kind of get started and you're like, wait, what did they say about this? And you go back and you're like, oh yeah, laughably simple. Like it's seriously
Right.
laughably
Right.
simple. And so you go back
Exactly.
and kind of, and then and that's why I think I like it as a journey, is because that's what it was for us, is these things we learned as we went along
Right.
through kind of trial and error sometimes, like, oh, this is really working. Why?
Yeah.
Or with some of my streaks where I'm like, that didn't work at all. Why?
Right.
Why didn't it work this time? Was it just me, or is there something we're missing? And
So with the feedback that you got, as far as we missed a major opportunity.
Right. So I got to thinking about it, and I was talking with you about it, and I thought, it's interesting because, so at first I thought, we missed an opportunity to talk about that. And then I thought, wow, there's other people that have said that. Like I've had 2 other people, not that we missed the opportunity, but one person, Betty, when we were talking to her on the podcast, she's like, I love this because like, this is this can help with imposter syndrome.
Ooh.
That feeling.
Now,
that
what is imposter syndrome?
imposter syndrome? I thought you were the one that told me about it, but I've read about it since then actually.
Right.
But it's that feeling that you don't really belong where you are, that you're kind of an imposter. And I think it's common in jobs and work and different things.
No, I agree with you. I was just curious because I know we had talked about it. I just didn't remember what exactly it was. It's where you're maybe in a position or a title in a job or anywhere, and you don't feel like you
don't totally feel like you're the person that everyone maybe thinks you are, or that you're totally measuring up. So you fight
or you
those
don't
feelings.
think you're the person you are.
Maybe you don't feel it. And so you're fighting those feelings that somehow you're an imposter.
Yeah.
And so that was Betty that had said that. And then another day we were on a different podcast, and Megan, as she was talking about the things that she had learned from the book, she's like, I just love that this really can help us have much more self-confidence. And so as I was thinking about the feedback of you really missed an opportunity, and I said, yeah, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said this, that these really do help the way that you feel about yourself.
Right.
You said something interesting.
What did I say?
Well, you said, isn't it interesting that even though we didn't say it,
Yeah.
it's communicated?
Now
In other
that is
words,
key. Yeah. That's why I use the concentrated orange juice analogy, is because it's like it's all packed together and you add water, which water is experience. Water is not only experience, but also it's trying it.
It's kind of the knowledge first,
Yes,
and
it's the
then
knowledge,
and then
yes.
you apply that knowledge and you get the experience. And then the more you get the experience, you just get this richness of understanding.
Yeah. And would you say then that as you've received that, would you go back and write the book again with more of that in there? Do you think there's an opportunity for that?
That is a good question. I don't know, because there's a part of me that understands what she was saying, of the sense of, you really could have talked about this. You could have gone in depth into this.
Right.
Which I agree we could.
Yeah.
But then there's this other part of me that looks at the book more as an invitation to join a journey, your journey. So I kind of feel like this was our journey.
That. Yeah.
And we wrote about it because it had a huge impact on us,
Right.
and we wanted to share that. But really, the book isn't anything if you kind of don't want to start the journey yourself. It might be cool to know about, but it's not going to do much in your life unless you decide that you want to go on the journey as well. And what I love is that your journey is going to be different than my journey. But what I loved is that what I noticed from these three people saying this is that the common thread through it is that there is a real byproduct of how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times I look at it, the self-credibility that I have when I have completed, 100 days of a particular streak, or I have looked back over 3 years and seen that I've been writing at least one sentence for 3 years. There is something inside of me that is different than what it was when I started. And like you said, how good I feel about the things that I've gotten done, and not in an arrogant way or an overconfident way, because it's fun when we have our streaking meetings, right? When we talk, and when I say streaking meetings, it's just the thought leadership of streaking. We've got our OG streakers,
our team,
our team of streakers.
Hey team, shout out
hey
to
team.
the team.
How you guys doing? If you're listening to it, hey. One of the things that I love is when anyone joins the team, we have them talk about a streak that they've been keeping, and they'll ultimately talk about a streak, and always it's something like this. Well, my streak is to open this app at least once daily, and we all laugh.
We do. It's
every one of us and they start laughing too.
Right. Like even on the team, we have to overcome a little bit of that.
I'm
you want me
to even tell
you what it is, because it's really it's laughable.
It is laughably
and it
small.
is funny how hard that is to overcome that feeling of, it's just the just word. That's it. We have to overcome just.
Yes.
It's just open the app.
Right. And by the way, all streakers, you know this, just is a 4-letter word. We do not use that.
We don't use it.
And the reason why is because I think it discounts what you're doing. And discounting is something that's interesting. You go to the bargain store to get discounts, and streaking is not about the bargain store. In fact, streaking is all about the high quality store, the things that you're doing, the small, tiny little things that you're doing every single day that make a massive, impactful difference.
Massive. So it's not just, it's at least. That's what you're doing. Well,
right.
I have to at least, or I have chosen to at least do this.
Or I get to at least do this one particular thing.
Do this.
We do state streaks in that way too, as far as the at least part of it. I remember when we were writing and talking about how you actually write a streak, and you look at the activity itself. And for most streaks, like for example, one of your streaks is to drink at least 8 ounces of water a day.
Right.
Now with that, you often will drink a lot more than that.
I hope to drink more than that. I want to drink more than that. But there are some days that at least is what I do. A
glass of water is all you need to do.
Right.
Now, with that being said, so go back to the 3 people that commented on, self-credibility, missed how good you feel about yourself. And then I forgot what the third person was, but it was
just
similar.
The same thing, feeling, imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Now you're doing something consistently every single day, and they're laughably small things. And after 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 1,200 days, you look back on that. Does that do something for you?
Well, it's interesting because I think at first, when you've done it for a little bit, those first few months, you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about this.
Yeah.
And then you get into a year and you're like, all right, I'm feeling really good about this. Like your laughably simple streak becomes something you're really proud of.
Yeah.
Like you're willing to tell people about it. And then I feel like after a couple years of doing something, you look back and you're like, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally changing because of this.
Yeah.
And so there's this progression. And I think that's why I love looking at it as a journey, is that you're starting on this journey. And as you keep going, you literally are changing who you want to be.
Considering as a journey, just for a second more, I know you've got because there's a pretty cool quote I think that you have that is about the journey. I mean, about what you do on the journey. And just before we get to that, I love thinking of it as a journey, because a journey indicates that I'm taking one step after another. So if you've started out there, or even if you're considering the streaking journey, or you're considering to go on it, give yourself some time. We talked about patience in one of our last podcasts. Give yourself the opportunity to take the journey, to take one step in front of another. Don't focus on what it is you're doing. Focus on how long you can keep that journey alive, because it's that particular focus that will allow you to accomplish amazing things in your life.
Yep. And I think it's that focus that allows you. Someone said that the law number 1 was the secret sauce of streaking.
Right.
And I loved that, because what I felt like what he was saying is it's giving me permission to be okay with doing something small and laughably simple, because I know I'm going to do it every day.
Right.
And so it's just tweaking it enough to give yourself that permission to count that little thing as successful.
Yeah.
And then think, okay, I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
I agree. So what was your quote?
This was Senator Dan Coates of Indiana, not current senator, but a former senator of Dan Coates of Indiana, in a book that he wrote. But he said, the only preparation for that one profound decision, which can change a life or even a nation, is those hundreds and thousands of half-conscious, self-defining, seemingly insignificant decisions made in private. And I loved that, because as I was reading through this, I thought, okay, I feel within my heart of hearts that is so true. That, and we talked a little bit about how life is made up of what seems like to be what did you call it? The highlight reel.
Oh, the highlight reel, yeah.
Yeah, that you're like, all we get is the highlight reel.
She's doing these hand
I'm
motions
doing the
to
hand
me.
motions.
And
I'm like, come on, don't you know what
trying
this
to get
is?
there. There's a wave, and there's all kinds of things that are
I'm
happening.
going up and down with my hands.
It's
Don't
the
you
highlight
know
reel,
that
right?
that's
You either see
highlight reel?
all the highlights or all the lowlights.
All the lowlights.
I mean, you don't really
And we don't
see
talk
what's in
about-
between and what's the foundation.
Yes, and what he's saying is that highlight reel, that one profound decision, is made up of hundreds of thousands of other tiny decisions that in the moment seem insignificant.
Wow.
And he said half-conscious and self-defining. And that's what I've loved about what we've done with streaking, is that I think a lot of times these things are half-conscious, and we're trying to take it out of that half-conscious realm and put it in that deliberate place and say, we know that these little tiny decisions are truly becoming self-defining moments, and we want to take it and put it in that conscious realm. So we are choosing consciously.
Uh-oh. You know what that means?
Means it went fast. Our fun day went so fast.
I know. Everyone have fun.
Isn't that always the way it is?
It is. Hey, by the way, I think we'll continue this conversation, but add to it, should we really slow down? I mean, we hear all the time, I've got to slow down. I've got to slow down. Should we?
Should we slow down?
Should we actually do it? And how does streaking help with that? Anyway, hey, go out there, buy the book, enjoy it, give us your feedback. Contact us. Let us know what it is. Jeffrey at JFFERY@streakingmastery.com or
Jamie at streakingmastery.com.
All right, everyone. Have a
Till next time.
fun day. And until next time,
Keep streaking.
keep on streaking.
Do one push up, become a better you. It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry, don't even worry. It's too simple not to do. It's the little things that make a better you. A better you.